Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So today my speech is... Sorry. Hey, there we go. It helps when you unmute yourself. Thank you for the introduction. So today's speech, I'm going to be talking to you about Warrior Path at Boulder Crest Retreat, which I just got back from last week. What is it? Warrior Path is a post-traumatic growth training program. It lasts a year and a half, but you have to take a course in person for 7 days up front to learn everything that you need to know moving forward for the rest of your life, but primarily for the accountability parts of the next year and a half. They teach you how to go from struggle to strength. What I got out of that program, to summarize it up into one word: gramazing. To me, that's great plus amazing together. And for me, it was life-changing, like no joke. And I'm not just saying that. I actually really, really, truly mean that. It was awesome. With the life-changing impact, they taught us a lot of self-regulation and wellness practices, which there's a lot of things I didn't even know. And I started practicing those things last week, and I can see where my life started to change, which was absolutely phenomenal. One difference from this program through a lot of other programs that are out there is we talk about ACEs. ACES. It stands for Adolescence Childhood Experiences. It's your past trauma prior to military service. Not a lot of other programs out there speak of your childhood, but a lot of people bring trauma into the military, and all the military does is magnify what you already had. A lot of veterans are stuck in this symptoms column of all these different things that are going on in their life, and the VA has put into our head that it's okay to be there. Here, we'll throw you pills and we'll just manage what we can. That's wrong. That's crap. There's been a lot of scientific studies to prove that. You know, the 22 a day. We're stuck. We have to get unstuck. How do you do that? You got to learn how to thrive. And that's what Warrior Path teaches you. They teach you how to go from being stuck to thriving. I can't go into details, but that's part of what they do. With me, I do have a service dog, but part of the program is they teach you not to rely on a service dog, but you need to rely on yourself and your own regulation practices. There is a post-program accountability, which I mentioned earlier. It is an 18-month follow-up, and it's consistent because it's weekly, so it will stick. A lot of other programs have or don't have post-program follow-ups. It's like you go in for 5 or 6, 7 days, you feel good for a week, you come back home, and then you go back to your old ways. Not this program. They help you stay accountable to your buddies that you were there with. Part of being accountable to your buddies, how do you do that? Well, disclosure and your story. You share your past and you open up. And when you do that, you feel a connection with each other. It's really awesome, you know, when you get to learn about someone else's story, and it makes you think, wow, my life's probably not as bad as I thought it was. You don't try to compare though. You know, no one's story is worse or better than the other. Everyone's been through trauma, and we're just trying to get to the same goal. Let's thrive together. So let's help each other out. What they help you do is get out of your head and into here, your heart. They help you connect the two to work congruently, because we're so separated right here. Well, we can't do that. We're not going to thrive if we don't come from here. We have to come from the heart to live a better life. We have to get out of here and unstuck. Make these two things work together, because when you speak from the heart, I'll tell you, man, major changes happen. You see, I had a beard I was growing for 9 months. Change happens. I don't want that long beard no more. I'm probably never going back to a long beard. Major change happens. One of the other big things that they do at Warrior Path is they don't allow you to have phones during the day. When you go down for PT in the morning, you don't see your phone again until after your final session in the evening, which keeps you from being distracted, just like a basic trainer, AIT. So that was a big part of staying focused and staying on track, because a lot of other programs out there will allow you to have your phone on you. You just can't have it out during class. So this keeps you from even trying to reach in your pocket when someone's head is turned. We learned about integrity. Everybody knows what integrity is. Just because, so-and-so turn around doesn't mean to, pull your phone out and try to sneak a text. No, because now you're distracted, you're not focused. That was a big part of staying on track there. And I absolutely loved it. I hated it because I couldn't have it with me, but I loved it because it was amazing to force me to focus. They also use a lot of quotes. I'm talking about quotes on quotes on quotes on quotes. There was over 100 quotes. I can't remember them all, but there was a lot. And just hearing the words of these quotes really makes you not even have to really think long term, but they stick. I was like, okay, you don't have to say no more. I know exactly what you mean with that quote. And they say that if you've been to other programs, this will be the last one, or if you haven't been in any at all, this should be the only program you'll ever need to get over your post-traumatic stress. So what did the Warrior Path teach me? It taught me to struggle well, which is also the title of a book from Ken Falk and Josh Goldberg. And I actually got to meet both of those guys. I don't know why. For this next part, they have never done this before, but we were like one of the most amazing classes we had there, I guess because we were so open, so upfront, and we really didn't hold nothing back. They actually came out and cooked breakfast for us one morning. That was awesome. They said that's never happened in the 7 years they've been running this program. So that was really cool to have those guys cook for us. If you refer to the song from Brooks and Dunn, this was so me. What did it teach me? I'm born to love again. I'm a brand new man. And that's exactly how I felt leaving there. It was awesome. Now, I've heard of the word labyrinth. I'm not going to define it for you, but I felt like, and I know for sure, I was literally baptized in a labyrinth. I've never seen one in person. I've never experienced one. I didn't know the meaning behind it. But what you do is you go in there with your crap, you drop it off in the middle, and you leave out there without it. You leave the past in the past because you don't need it no more in your life. Well, I did that not once, but twice. I went in there, I dropped off my trauma, and I turned around, I left out, things were good to go. A couple days later, I still had some anger issues, and I went in there and I left all my anger behind. I ain't really been mad since, and that was a week ago. They also taught us transcendental meditation is literally a gift. I've never meditated before in my life. I started doing this twice a day, and I still continue it. I signed a contract saying that I would for the next 60 days. And I'll tell you what, it has really been helpful. It releases stress and anxiety, and it's just absolutely relieving and awesome. I went in there, I felt like a deflated balloon who I was filled with helium. I floated up in the sky, and I had a different point of view on life itself. So when I left out of there, I felt like I was literally sky high, and it was so cool. They teach you to respond, not react, which really ties into anger a lot. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about that. They also taught everybody, but I think they were talking to me, is to zip your lip. Let me throw one of the quotes at you that they said. Never miss an opportunity to be quiet. Well, I tell you what, that was the hardest thing for me to do when I was there. If you ever watched the TV show Forged in Fire, they take a piece of metal and they'll put in a fire and they start banging it and shaping it to come out to this nice final piece of a blade. You're literally transformed into a fire, and that's how I felt through the progression of the week and in the labyrinth itself. So when you get done, you come out and you're shiny, you're sharp, you're ready to attack life. It was absolutely awesome. You get rid of all the impurities, the crap and the baggage you don't need for the rest of your life. It was awesome. They taught us to be a warrior and not a victim. I said, you know what? I'm going to quit victimizing. I'm not going to do that no more. They taught us to quit receiving and getting rather than to give and serve others. I have a problem with that. But you know what? I gave up a lot, and I thought about the word sacrifice for the last 2 or 3 days that I was there. And I'll tell you what, I've made quite a bit of sacrifices since returning home. One of them, giving up a $5,000 exotic deer hunt. I'm not the guy to give up a deer hunt. No, I did that. I changed my flight because I wanted to come in 5 days later. I paid $350 to come home 5 days early. My wife was surprised. She was surprised when I sacrificed my beard. Jesus was sacrificed on the cross for our sins. You know what? If he can do that, then I can make some sacrifices too. So I'm here with my family right where I belong because I'm being the man that God's called me to be. And that really got me in touch of the purpose of my life. They taught us about success, doing better today than what you did yesterday. Be curious, ask questions, learn some things. They taught us about a wellness triangle. You have your head, your body as a whole, your money. If your money ain't right, your head ain't right, things go downhill. And then your spirit. Yes, I know it's a triangle, but there's actually the center of the triangle too, which is your spirit. Bowling bumpers. There's an analogy about these bowling bumpers. Above one side of the bumpers or the lane, you have unhealthy habits. On the other side, you have bad influences. And we go in and out of these bumpers all the time. They taught us to put up these bumpers and stay in our lane so we can hit some pins. We may miss some of them on the first throw, but you know what? You can always pick up a spare. They told us to walk the walk over talking the talk. Here's another quote for you. Make your actions be so loud that I cannot hear your words. Do. I have a problem doing that, so I'm working on that. They taught us to be courageous. Say what you mean what you say, and don't say it mean. I did that too. Practice all your wellness regulations. Don't wait for an emergency to break glass. You are who you are because of military training and your experiences. You didn't change. Your environment changed. You just have to retrain and retrain your purposes and get out of that stuck column. Start thriving. Get unstuck. Change the angle. If things ain't working, change the angle. And you'll be surprised of what you see. The past is for reference only. Don't live in it, but just see where you came from and how you move forward. Don't drag it with you. Leave it where it belongs, way back there. They taught us to appreciate life. Don't miss out on the beauty of it. That was the one thing I took for granted. Taught us some breathing techniques. Patching a bucket so you're not leaking down your negative, bad habits onto your family. I patched mine. Flexo works great. They taught you to challenge yourself. They showed us a thing in equine therapy about how other people or horses see obstacles rather than what you see. People handle them differently, so don't expect to handle things the same way that you do. Everybody has a story, so don't judge them and be kind. You find out who you are, why you're here, and where you belong. Those are some questions that they asked us that I still haven't answered, but I don't need to. They're rhetorical. Don't be a hypocrite. There's a story about two wolves. One was bad, one was good. Who wins? The one you feed. I ain't feeding that bad wolf no more. I'm running him off. I'm feeding the good wolf now. Communication is 93% nonverbal. You don't need to talk a lot. You have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. So be the person in the mirror looking back. Make sure that those two guys match. If they're not matching, you better take your mask off and start living for who you really are. That ties into integrity. Do the right thing. Be who you say you are and what you portray on social media. If they don't match up, you better start changing some things. And that really opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, I've been lying to myself for a long time. People want to be seen, heard, and valued. They want to hear, thank you, I'm sorry, and I love you, and what do you need from me? Those are some things I don't really say very often, but I'm learning to. You got to pay it forward, serve others. Your attitude and your effort are yours, and nobody can take those away from you. Don't let them. Acknowledge others. Praise them. Tell them you're proud of them. Those are things I also have learned to try to start doing myself. Be thankful, live a life of gratitude, journal daily. Write down what must not be forgotten, because you may forget it, especially guys like me with TBIs. Love yourself and quit lying and quit being hard on yourself. Don't cheat yourself. You are worthy. You do deserve it. So walk with your chin up, your shoulders back, standing tall, looking good. Life is an adventure, you know. They say that It's like you're kayaking. There's a bunch of twists and turns, some rapids, some smooth spots. You can sit there and put your paddle down and let the river or let life just take you along and just be a victim and say, well, we went through some rapids. It was pretty tough. I flipped over, blah, blah, blah. Or what you could do is you can grab your paddle and you can start getting in there and controlling your own life. Another analogy they used was the pen. Life took the pen away from you and is writing your story. Fight back, get that pen, and start writing your own story. Don't let life take control of you. You take control of your life. Think of songs that remind you of good times and reflect on those good songs, because those bring back the good, positive memories. Same thing with your favorite meals from your childhood. We use archery as an example about when you pull back to shoot, you're holding anxiety and stress. You can sit there and wait all day until you get the perfect shot. All you're doing is stressing yourself out. Or you can decide to release, let it go, and just let the arrow fly. And I already mentioned the labyrinth. That was absolutely life-changing for me, the labyrinth itself. And then there's a whole bunch of quotes in there I'm not going to get into, but here's some hashtags for me to end with. Shift happens. Yes, we had to throw one extra letter in there so I didn't cuss. Unstuck yourself, which is different from the F word. And it's all about post-traumatic growth. This program was absolutely life-changing and awesome, and I am so excited. I felt the change. I was literally baptized in the labyrinth. I'm moving forward. If you can't tell, I am a brand new man. I appreciate you listening. Thanks, and y'all have a wonderful evening. Take care, y'all.